Before Prometheus stole fire and before dragons ruled the sky, in the land of Persia there was a god made entirely of flame, and he is no one but Azar, the living fire. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Celine and you're watching another video from my Persian mythology series which I post every Friday. Today, we're going to talk about Azar, the deity of fire, and his epic fight with Azhdahak, the dragon, to gain divine glory. Okay, let's meet Azar, the fiery star of Persian myth. Not just a flame, but a living divine presence. In Zoroastrian belief, Azar, whose name is also written Azar or Adar and in everyday Persian is Atash, is the personification of fire, meaning every real flame is seen as a small appearance of Azar himself and is the light of Ahura Mazda among people. So, what does that mean? Imagine the hearth in your home. For ancient Iranians, the hearth was more than heat and light. It was a sacred being that both serves humans and connects them to the divine. Azar is that being. He is warm, helpful, and pure. On a human level, fire was used in daily life as a purifier for cleaning, for oath, for making things right. But here's an important detail. Zoroastrians don't worship fire in the way we picture idol worship. Instead, they revere it as the clearest symbol of truth and purity and a kind of living mirror for Ahura Mazda's light. So fire is respected, tended, and carefully protected, but never idolized. And let me know in the comments if you want a full video on sacred fires in Zoroastrianism. So, where does Azar come from? Different layers of Zoroastrian literature give slightly different pictures. In the oldest layer, that is the Avesta and the Yasna hymns, Azar shows up as a holy force closely tied to Ahura Mazda's order. Those hymns praise Azar as a bright, healing presence used in rites and sacrifices. Later texts written and shaped by Middle Persian tradition and authors make Azar more explicitly a divine person, even calling him the son or a creation of Ahura Mazda. Another important idea is Azar's link to the Spentamanu, that is, the bountiful spirit, about whom we have talked about in my video on creation in Persian mythology. But why does parentage matter for the myth? Because calling Azar a son of Ahura Mazda or an emanation of Spentamanu does three things for the religion. 1. It raises fire from a useful natural element to a sacred being. 2. It makes Azar an ally in the cosmic fight against evil. And 3. It explains why fire is treated with such care and respect in Zoroastrian ritual life. Those aren't just poetic lines, they're the reason fire temples, prayers, and strict rules about purity exist in the first place. Now, let's step into the heart of the story, the epic moment when Azar faces the terrifying dragon Azhdahak. Before we begin, we need to talk about Khvarenah, which in New Persian is also called Farr. It is the personified divine glory that Zoroastrians and ancient Persians believed was a blessing from Ahura Mazda. Whoever captured it was protected, successful, and worthy of kingship. Throughout Iranian mythology, this glory was held by great and powerful kings, and in this story we will talk about how one of them, Garshasp, lost it, and how the divine forces set out to find it again. Our tale begins with Garshasp, a hero and a just king who once held the divine glory, the shining power that gives kings the right to rule. For a long time, Garshasp protected this sacred light, but one day, while he was cooking food in the wild, he set up his fire too close to a sleeping dragon. The dragon suddenly breathed out a poisonous venom, and in that moment, Garshasp lost the divine glory. It slipped away from him like a frightened bear. As soon as this happened, the two great cosmic forces reacted. On one side was Spentamanu, the holy force of Ahura Mazda, and on the other was Angramanu, the destructive power of Ahriman. Both of them sent their messengers to chase after the divine glory. Ahura Mazda sent three mighty beings: Vohu Manah, the spirit of good thoughts; Asha Vahishta, the spirit of truth and righteousness; and Azar, the divine fire himself. Ahriman answered with his own dark servants: Akamana, the demon of evil thoughts and the enemy of Vohu Manah; Aeshma, the demon of fury and rage; and finally Azhdahak, the monstrous dragon who terrorizes the world. So the race began. The divine glory moved like a flash of light across the world, and the forces of good and evil chased after it. Azhdahak, with his huge body and terrible wings, reached it first, but only moments later, Azar appeared, burning bright and fearless. The dragon tried to intimidate him. Azhdahak hissed with a voice like thunder and shouted that if Azar dared to take the divine glory from him, he would destroy his sacred fires, pollute them, and turn them into smoke and darkness. But Azar did not step back. His flames rose higher, and he warned the dragon that if Azhdahak even tried to harm the holy fire, he would burn him to ashes. At that moment, the great dragon felt fear. Azhdahak realized that even his poisonous breath could not defeat the pure divine fire. So he dropped the divine glory and fled into the shadows. But Azar did not take the divine glory for himself either. The shining light escaped again, flying across the world until it reached the wide mythical sea of Zoroastrianism. There, it hid in the depth and was protected by Apam Napat, the radiant lord of the waters, about whom we have talked in the previous video. In the end, Ahura Mazda and Zoroaster revealed a new truth to humanity. If people live with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, they too can reach for that divine glory. Now we come to a month named for fire. In the modern Persian calendar, Azar is the 9th month, usually running from late November to late December. The name itself comes from the ancient Zoroastrian word Atar, the sacred fire, so it gets special attention in old Zoroastrian ritual life and folk practices. As I've already mentioned in the previous videos, in Zoroastrian tradition there is a neat calendar trick. Each month has a day with the same name. When the day called Azar falls inside the month called Azar, people mark the coincidence with a festival, often called Azargan, Adargan, or Adarjash. This is a day to honor the spread of fire, Atar or Azar, and to remember how important flame is for life and purity. Different communities call it different names, but the core idea is the same. It's a fire-focused celebration, one of the calendar's special days. On these days, people traditionally visit fire temples or family hearths. Priests perform purification rituals. Fire is kept clean and fed with fragrant wood. Families pray for warmth, health, and protection through the cold months. Think of it as the Persian version of lighting a candle, but way more ceremonial and with ancient roots. Even though modern Iranians don't all practice Zoroastrian rituals, the idea of fire as life-giving survived in folk costumes. Festivals that center on fire, like the big fire jumping event before Nowruz, that is the Persian New Year, show how fire images stayed alive in the culture. And this flame-driven struggle between good and evil doesn't end with Azar. Next Friday, we're moving from the fire of purity to the god of war and victory himself, Bahram, the undefeatable slayer of demons. So make sure you're subscribed and you don't miss it. Until then, take care.